in Muslim artists on social media has brought more than just their work to the big screens. These artists are receiving different forms of criticism for their work.
Oh, well, are you a Muslim if you play the piano?
I'm just like a white girl and I don't know anything about my religion, my culture, when really it's quite the opposite.
Some received a backlash from their faith culture and others from the Western culture.
Muslim, Asian, girl boxer, do you know what I mean? So it's like they're adding on these labels to hype it up more, so when people look at it, it's like, what's going on here?
Because in the Muslim world, whether we like it or not, everybody is a critic, everybody is a scholar online, everybody has an opinion.
A minority of artists also saw criticism from their own ethnic groups.
They think it's not cool to rap in Arabic. It's cool if you do it in English.
Who's going to marry your daughter? She's boxing now.
For some, it was difficult for their families to accept what they were doing.
My parents would genuinely much rather me become a medic than become the best drummer I can be.
I'm just saying it's wrong what you're doing, so you need to stop playing, you need to start come inside and help in the kitchen and stuff like that basically.
Often the inability to separate religious views from race or cultural tradition formed this double backlash that some artists were receiving.
I don't think anyone's out here trying to like separate don't mind that you're Asian but you're Muslim, that's not okay.
But when that culture is in contrast with the principles of the religion, this is when that culture becomes blameworthy, and this is when that culture is rejected by our religion.
I'm standing outside Al Jamia, one of the grand mosques in Bradford. Due to a large minority of Muslims and Asians living here, diversity of opinion is inevitable. From conservative to liberal Muslims, artists in Bradford feel like they are more judged for venturing out into creative professions that challenge Islamic or Asian norms and values.
Breaking Asian stereotypes in sport, former UK national champion Ambreen Siddique talks about the challenges she faced starting out as one of Britain's first female Muslim boxers.
Again, talking about 10 years ago, people were saying, she's a Muslim, why is she showing her hair first of all, why is she showing her legs off, why is she showing her arms off, why is she doing a boy sport? It was more from the Asian community. I'd hear it more from the Asian community because I was surrounded by Asians, but that doesn't mean that it didn't come from other backgrounds as well, if that makes sense. It'll be like, oh, what's she doing? She's making us look bad. And by us meaning Asian community or the Muslims.
Playing football, it's not, Islamically it's not wrong, but culturally they think it's wrong. So because they believe culturally it's wrong, like my parents and my family, they'd use the Islamic reason, you shouldn't play because men shouldn't be watching you run around in your shorts. But if you're fully covered, then I don't see what the issue is.
There's a lot more respect given to, or in my parents' eyes and in a very traditional sense, between that generation, there's a lot more respect given to doctors and engineers and lawyers than people who can express an art. For example, painters or musicians, they don't get as much respect in, not saying in the wider world, but in the Asian community, they don't get as much respect as a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer would maybe do.
The religious community criticised Muslim artists for going against the Quran and Sunnah. For Masooma Ali, the result was devastating. A young Bangladeshi makeup artist from Yorkshire, living with cerebral palsy, she often struggled when applying basic Islamic principles.
Firstly, I get judged on how I wear the scarf. So people say, well, if you're wearing it, why don't you wear it the right way? Why is your hair showing? Why is it so drapey? Why is it so not perfect? But there isn't a perfect. It's everyone's own journey, but people don't understand that.
Hadia is a young pianist from Bradford who is challenging the religious backlash she faced for playing instruments that are considered sinful in Islam.
We're putting our time and effort into learning these instruments, and there are people here looking down upon us, shunning us, things like that. I feel as though that is haram, that is wrong.
I wanted to find out why the religious community is turning its back on these artists, but most of the imams I approached did not want to talk to me or get involved. They said what I was doing was too controversial for them to comment on. I managed to sit down with Sheikh Bilal Brown, a convert to Islam and a scholar of the religion, to talk about this relevant issue facing these young Muslims.
When you put yourself on social media, you're putting yourself in the public eye. So you're opening yourself to criticism from everyone. So whatever you do on social media, there's always going to be somebody who is not happy with what you're saying or happy with what you're doing.
Today I'm in Manchester. There is considered to be a large Muslim population here. A lot of artists are drawn to this culturally diverse city. Muslim artists feel like their creativity and work can be widely accepted. However, does this creativity come with a price? Do they receive a cultural backlash? I'm on my way to meet Santo, an Algerian rapper from the Middle East. I'm interested to see what he has to say about living in the UK as a Muslim artist.
Here people are more open because the diversity and the location of this country that's in the middle of the world, and people are coming here and like experiencing life together and getting to know each other gave them more understanding than Americans.
Malia and Hadia are also experiencing a double backlash between Western and Asian culture. They were labelled coconuts for taking up instruments they genuinely enjoy playing.
When like you get called coconut, it basically means that you're brown on the outside, so you're brown, you're born Asian, but inside like you think like more Western, like a white girl, so it means I'm brown on the outside but white on the inside.
White people judge me less for playing the piano and maybe having a posh accent. They don't think of me as a coconut, but I feel as though to this day I'm still struggling with that, with the fact that I'm in the middle. Like I don't fully fit in with my white friends and I don't fully fit in with Asian girls because I play the instrument. Maybe I'm a bit different to them.
However, some felt like this cultural backlash shouldn't be taken seriously.
Are they really Asian? You know, if somebody who's been born in the UK or the US or in Europe, can we really call them, do they really have an Asian culture now that they need to adhere to? I don't know, I doubt it.
Today I'm in London, the multicultural megacity and capital of England. It populates around 12.5% of Muslims. There is a large artistic movement here. More and more Muslims are using this opportunity to establish their identity and culture using their artwork.
Today I'm meeting Zaid, a modest fashion influencer for men. He spoke about how being online comes with social responsibilities as a Muslim.
To somebody, I would say Muslim, but more so non-Muslims, we're role models, because when they see us and they see what we do, they're gonna create a judgment. So any moves I make, any decisions I make that are publicly seen, I take those into account very seriously. For example, that model that he's wearing a really nice garment, but he may be smoking in that garment. And so if I like that picture, people can also see those pictures that I like. So I take it to that level.
I'm on my way to meet Suhaima Manzoor Khan, a political activist, spoken word poet and author.
Read instantly in a way that puts you into a certain category. That is essentially what stereotyping is, that a set of traits of behaviours and characteristics are ascribed to me because of how somebody sees me, and therefore without me having kind of said anything or been able to speak for myself, I'm already being defined. And so people, when they respond badly to that, they're responding badly to their own projections of who I am rather than anything I've said or done. And that's problematic, of course, because it's dehumanising. You're not allowing that person to be who they are. You're just saying, I already have these assumptions about you because of how you look, and I respond badly to that.
A lot of the artists felt they'd received more backlash for being visibly Muslim.
If you say I'm Muslim, they can imagine terrorism and shit like that, you know?
Because I did wear the headscarf, I was excluded from the game more than the other players were. So they wouldn't pass me the ball or they wouldn't talk to me or anything. So I just stood there and that really put me off playing for the team.
The hijabi thing, like, I don't think that should be a problem. Do you know, like, it's just because it's like wearing shorts in the ring. I'm just wearing my scarf, like, Muslim hijabi boxer, like, they wouldn't do that for like a white person or a black person, do you know what I mean? They wouldn't write like a white.
Modesty is, you know, a big part of the faith. So not just for you know, for women hijabi boxers, but what about the men that are going into a boxing ring? They're also exposing what many ulama would say, the nakedness.
So what do I take away with me from this experience? After meeting Zaid, I saw a double standard in the fashion industry, a hype over modest fashion becoming a mainstream trend, whilst there remains Islamophobia towards Islamic modest dress. If a Muslim wears it, it's seen as extreme, but if it's sold in Zara or H&M, it's seen as trendy.
Funny enough, you see non-Muslims doing it and they're promoting it and everybody's saying, oh, it looks really good. They're wearing the longer garments, wearing wider leg trousers, everything's above the ankle now. You know, that's from the Sunnah.
I saw what it was really like to be British, Asian and Muslim, trying to integrate into a Western society, from artists who were labelled as coconuts who were playing the piano.
People shouldn't criticise us for trying to fit into Western society, because we have to work with what we've got here.
Sahima revealed how she manages to get no repercussions for making controversial statements through the power of poetry.
To straddle this line of being just palatable enough to be listened to and just radical enough to be subversive.
I realised that whether it be applying makeup for a fan base, becoming a world-renowned pianist, or playing sport for a local team, a double backlash is a reality for some of these creative individuals. Being challenged by some imams did not stop me from seeking out the truth. Caught in this crossfire between religious and cultural views where imams and artists don't see eye to eye, a barrier needs to be broken down. These artists are made to feel like they cannot have both identities. They are proud to be Muslim, but are their leaders proud of them? The stakes are high for the religious community. We could end up losing these young, talented Muslims if they feel like they are no longer valued by their own faith group. Will their society accept them before it's too late?